So guys, good morning. Good morning and welcome to your live session of this week by the title of The Attitude of Gratitude at the Workplace. Just like as part of the Journey to Grow Me, the message that you must have seen from our head of HR, we are doing different themes every month throughout the year, and within the months of the year, we also have different themes within the weeks. So, keeping in mind that this is a May is a privileged month for us. We had kept a theme of gratitude for this week. For next week, we have a theme which is on giving back to the community. And for the week after that, which is the third week, right before the Eid break, we have the whole week which is dedicated to resilience. So most of you who have actually gone over and seen our schedule, I encourage you to join the sessions from this week as well as next week, as well as week number 3. So what we thought was, where do we begin this week, which is by the title of, which was themed as gratitude. So we thought, I think it would be a good plan for us if we start off talking to not just one person, but a group of people who belong to different age groups and different experiences, different industries, and also different geographies, who can help and speak with us on the topic of gratitude. So the way we're going to go about it is, I would like for you to be on mute, and in case if you would like to speak to us on anything, there is a chat room which is available there. Please go ahead and type your comments and your questions there in the chat box so I can read it and then I can answer them. So without further ado, we'll begin. I wanted to introduce to you the lead moderators for today. So although I'm here, though we have a group of lead moderators, we have with us Mrs. and Mr. Ghazanfar, who are they are 8 hours behind us, and they've been grateful enough, and also the teams that they're working with, they've been grateful enough to join us, even though I think it's roughly around maybe 2 or 3 o'clock a.m. at their time. So Mr. and Mr. Ghazanfar they've been working with several Fortune 500 companies, including Oracle, and their main goal is to help people raise happy and healthy families. They belong to a network, they belong to a company, they run a company by the name of PAL Education Network, and that was mentioned in the fact sheet as well. And not only that, what they're doing is they've been kind enough to invite certain other people belonging to different industries who will speak to you on the theme of gratitude from their perspective. So, all to you, Mr. Ghazanfar. It's all yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Asad. Peace and blessings of God be on everyone. It is an extreme privilege and honor to be here with the group today. We appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us. These times are, quite unique and something that most of us have probably never experienced before. However, such times also become an opportunity to rethink and review what we have done in life thus far, and make plans for the times to come. So all of us are quite familiar with the term COVID-19. By this point, it has impacted families far and wide. And the time that we will be spending together today will be to learn how to make the best of what we have, not worry about what we cannot do or don't have, but focus on what we can do and accomplish, and to hopefully learn to change the frowns upside down. So let's ensure that with the lineup of accomplished speakers that we have here today, we are able to take away at least one, if not more, items for each one of us. And we will be asking the listeners to share their takeaways with us in the chat box as the talk progresses, or as towards the end of the session. because we certainly want to take some feedback from the group. Obviously, as Asad said, if there are any questions, please type those in the chat box, and we can certainly address those at the end. So with that said, we'll start with our lineup of speakers that we have. So our first speaker for today is his name is Mumtaz Siddiq. Mumtaz Siddiq is a philanthropist with a business acumen who's spent his life in serving organizations from entry level to boardrooms. He has worked for various large organizations, including the Armed Forces, the Aga Khan Foundation, and Behriya, which is a real estate developer. Mumtaz has mentored and coached tens of hundreds of individuals and groups on how to spend a more purposeful life and focus on the ends and not the means. He has a BE in electrical engineering and aeronautical avionics and ME in electronics. He's currently retired with accomplished children and grandchildren, but continues to share his wisdom and experiences with communities across the world. So with that said, over to you, Mumtaz.
Thank you, Zanfar. Pleasure to be with this forum. You started off with the COVID-19, and until COVID-19 came along, men were supposed to be social animals. And now with the COVID-19, I recollect another day a friend of mine telling me that he used to go for a walk, and if a stray dog used to come, he used to be on the other side of the street. Now he's a human being to the other side of the street. So that is the change, but hopefully we should get back to our social behavior. And in the social behavior, we have to see how we interact with people. Interacting is a very great means by which we accomplish our success or otherwise. We can have a different way of interacting with our fellow beings. We could have a very stern attitude. We could be having a frowning attitude. We could have a smiling attitude. There are a number of ways by which we interact with people. But the most successful, and we will see what is gratitude. Gratitude typically what appeals to us and we feel happy in reverse will also appeal and endear us to others. I see it from the reverse point of view. When we interact with people, who appeals us most? Does a frowning face appeal to us, or a smiling face, and a person who goes to an extra mile to make you comfortable and happy? You have better memories of that individual. And from that point of view, I, in my silver years, am focused to talk to people who are starting their career. That if they value what the people who are pleasant to them, conversely, if they are pleasant, they will also endear themselves to those whom which they are interacting. And those of you who are in transition to establish your careers, this is the most important attitude. When in my formative years in the army, I realized that it makes a world of difference. We are in a very competitive world, and only those stand out who have an edge over others, and one of the best means of having an edge on the others is through gratitude. I remember in my first posting in the army, my commanding officer had a liking for me, and as time and life is but a time and space calculation as to where and where you will be, and when the chance comes for the individual of your superior to select, your attitude and his memory of those events will make a difference. In my case, my steward was at a position where when a slot came to be the engineer in charge of the most coveted presidential helicopter, he without hesitation nominated me for the training for that slot, which brought me to a lifetime of aviation maintenance, especially the presidential helicopter interacting with variety of people. Now let us examine what are the ingredients which from this perspective. What does gratitude really mean? Gratitude it's a way of presenting yourself. It is your salesmanship, how you interact with people. Now, why is gratitude important? The gratitude is important. It is important psychology research where it's strongly and consistently associated with happiness. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experience, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationship. People feel and express gratitude in multiple ways. Now, we see a lot of good in gratitude, but how do we practice it? To help you on your gratitude journey, here are 8 ways you have to be to show more gratitude in your daily life. Don't be stingy. Don't be miser in this thing. Don't be picky. Appreciate everything. Appreciating everything makes you happy, makes your surroundings happy, and makes the individuals that you interact happy. Don't be snobbish at your challenges. Find the gratitude even in your challenge. Be sincere. The gratitude cannot be a put-on mask which will sell. It has to be genuine from within yourself. Have the inbuilt quality to be genuine and genuine in gratitude. Make a willful effort to be grateful. Appreciate the other person's position and be of help to him. Make a willful to inculcate this habit in you. Wherever possible, volunteer to help. And things unsaid are not registered. Express yourself. Maybe a small appreciation mention even. A good day. A nice shirt. A nice cap. It will endear you. It will break the ice. We have the words where there was nothing to discuss and people used to start talking about the weather. So find a subject. Find a means to interact. Once you start practicing gratitude, you not only just alter your mind, but it affects your body chemistry also. Researchers have found that a link between gratitude and having low blood pressure, as well as fewer aches and pains and improved immunity. And immunity is what we need the most in these trying times. Grateful people even have healthier hearts. So it's a win-win situation. In positivity psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experience, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. People feel and express gratitude in multiple ways. So what are the benefits of gratitude? Gratitude opens the door to more relationship. It is a great door opener. The easiest way to get to other people and to be on the right side is to show gratitude. Gratitude improves your physical health. It brings in positivity in you. It enhances empathy and reduces aggression. Grateful people sleep better. They have more sound mind and they result in better esteem. The power of gratitude is enormous. Don't underestimate it. Gratitude is our emotion that relates to our ability to feel and express thankfulness and appreciation. Expressing gratitude improves mental, physical, and relational well-being. Being grateful also impacts the overall experience of happiness, and these effects tend to be long-lasting. It is not a phasing time. or a time phase event. It is something which you have got to inculcate and make a part of your body language, of your window on the world. People feel that, does it work? It works like hell. From my experience, I tell you, when the management or your superior person have to make a selection, your attitude comes in very heavy in your favor. And this is in this very competitive world, the minor difference is a very vital difference which will make you or hold you in good esteem in moving forward. So, don't have a frown, as Zanfar had shown in the slides. Put on a smile, and that smile will give you the extra mileage, and with that, make a positive effort to reach out to the people in terms of gratitude, to empower them and to build on the relationship which will hold you in good stead. Thank you very much. Zanfar, back to you.
All right, thank you very much. Quite insightful sharings. I'm sure all of us took some beneficial points for ourselves. One thing that I learned, obviously, is to be able to appreciate others, right? And how we before COVID-19, all of us were running around doing the things that we were doing, and sometimes we're not able to spend the time together as a family. And now that all of us are together, be it by force, that we have to be all at home and be sharing, the same space as all of us are doing the things we are doing, we need to learn to appreciate our own families first. Hopefully all of us were able to take some good points away from the discussion. So with that said, we'll move to our second speaker for today. His name is Zain Ghazanfar, and as Asad said, we have various different age groups, being represented here, so we can get the perspective from different age groups. So with that said, let's Zain, if you can start, please, inshallah. It seems like the voice may not be coming through. Okay, so it seems like the voice is not coming through at this time. So just in the interest of time, why don't we move to our next speaker for now, and then we'll certainly come back to Zain. All right. So with that said, our third speaker, his name is Yasser Siddiq. Yasser is an accomplished business leader with 2 decades of experience working with various international organizations. He's currently working with Philips in UAE. Within the Human Resources Business Unit, and heads up the Compensation and Employee Benefits function for Middle East, Turkey, and the Africa region. Prior to working with Philips, Yasser has worked in various other organizations, including consulting organizations, government organizations, and high-tech sectors. He has worked with global companies such as DHL, Nestle, LG, and Mercer. Yasser has a master's degree in economics and management. He's a very passionate individual and quite passionate about developing business leaders, and has a keen interest in the area of mind sciences, meditation, and body language. Yasser is also a certified neuro-linguistic practitioner. So with that said, Yasser, over to you.
Thank you, Ghazanfar. First of all, a warm welcome to everyone, and I hope everybody is staying safe and are in a good health. Ghazanfar, would I be able to, you can give me the access, I could share my screen? Yeah. Okay. All right. right. I believe you are able to see my screen. Okay. So I think it's a very interesting topic and a very insightful and something that we can dwell into a lot of perspectives, talking about attitude of gratitude. We know that there are a lot of ways that we could actually define gratitude. Sorry.
اي بس دز لي هذا يلا حط لي اياهم بلا زحمه عليك حتى ارجع لهم واقول هذا الكونفرميشن يلا حبيبي تسلم.
Guys, can I ask you to put yourself on mute, please? People who are not speaking, can you please put yourself on mute? Thank you.
So what I would like to share with the team today is just to kind of segregate and try to give some insights that I have learned over a period of time with regards to what is gratitude. We'll also kind of have a look at it. Why is it important in our lives, whether it's in our professional context or even in our personal lives? How to practice gratitude? Because if we say that gratitude is an attitude, right? And attitudes are some things which are acquired. We can practice towards achieving a certain goal or an attitude. As Mr. Mumtaz also mentioned that, this is something that we can also respond to in terms of, it's a choice that we have in order to respond to a given situation. So we'll kind of talk about how do we kind of practice gratitude. And obviously all of us, we are in an organizational corporate setting. So all of these learnings, how do we then internalize that into a workplace setting? So that's how I'm planning to structure the discussion today. First of all, let me just take you through in terms of what is gratitude. And I'm sure that everybody has a very fair idea about the terminology. We could say it's about being appreciative. We could also say it's being thankful, being grateful. All of this is very, very relevant. I also had a chance to kind of deep dive into this, the aspect of gratitude. And I also found some very interesting insights that I would like to share with you. Now, what I have seen also is that gratitude is basically an understanding that every moment in life is a gift with an opportunity which it brings. Now, I want to kind of pause here and then explain a little bit in terms of what is my view around gift. Now, if you look around in your lives, personal lives, in your contact, in your people that we interact with, for me, I think gift is something which is a given. A lot of times we do not earn gifts. It's kind of something which is given to us. If you look around in nature, the beauty of the nature, the water, the air that we breathe in, it's a given gift to us. And it brings us an opportunity how we respond to that gift, right? Now, the key question here is that, can we be grateful for everything in life? The answer is no. We cannot be grateful for things like violence. We cannot be grateful for war. We cannot be grateful for betrayal. We cannot be grateful for oppression. Then what do we do in those situations? The topic is about having an attitude to gratitude. Then how does that correlate with some of the things in our lives which we may not be able to be grateful about? I think this is where I would also like to connect what was being said earlier by Mr. Ghazanfar and Mr. Mumtaz, is also that how we respond to those situations. The ability to be able to be thankful to the given situation, the opportunity that situation brings to us, of being appreciative, of being able to respond to a situation, for me, is gratitude. Let alone the terminology of being grateful and being thankful, I think I would probably take a step back is to say that, even having the opportunity, the breadth, the willingness, the health to be able to respond, to be able to be grateful itself is a big blessing. Now, why is gratitude so important in our life? So obviously there's a scientific notion emotion to it, and I would like to share with the team a little bit of a reflection from a study that was done, and a clip, if I could share with the team here.
Research shows that adopting an attitude of gratitude, simply expressing appreciation and being more thankful, can measurably improve your overall well-being. For example, studies prove that gratitude can increase happiness, reduce depression, and strengthen resiliency. Grateful people often experience reduced blood pressure, less chronic pain, increased energy, even longer lives. People who purposefully express more gratitude report higher self-esteem than those who don't, and they're more likely to help others, a pro-social behavior also linked to greater happiness. People who capture grateful thoughts before bed sleep better than those who don't. Why so many positive changes? Because gratitude actually rewires our brains, kickstarting the production of dopamine and serotonin. Like antidepressants, these feel-good neurotransmitters activate the bliss center of the brain, creating feelings of happiness and contentment. This appears to be self-perpetuating. Research suggests that with regular practice, you'll train your prefrontal cortex to better appreciate and retain positive experiences and thoughts, and to deflect the negative ones. Here are a few simple ways to deliberately cultivate that attitude of gratitude. Celebrate minor accomplishments. Think about what you have rather than dwelling on what you don't. Tell the people in your life something you appreciate about them. Tell yourself too. Volunteer, hold a door for a stranger, or simply smile more, and you'll probably feel better, as kindness and giving are connected to gratitude. Similar positive brain changes can occur from regular meditation and mindfulness. Keep a daily gratitude journal using an old-fashioned notebook or a high-tech app. The science is clear. Give gratitude a go. You'll be thankful you did.
So, key takeaways from what we just leads to increased happiness, reduces chronic pain, increased energy, more self-esteem, improves quality of sleep, and rewires the brain. Now, let's park these key takeaways, and I will kind of try to connect them when we talk about how would that translate into our conduct and interaction in the workplace. Why do we need to have increased energy to be more engaged? How does it rewire our brains? So let's try to kind of keep in mind the key takeaways from this and try to reflect on that. Now, next, I think important thing I would like to share is how do we practice gratitude? I would probably start by starting off.
Hi guys.
I think that's the joys of working from home.
That's the best part of the session. Yeah, I think we're hearing from some of you. I think one of you still has the mic unmuted where it's open. So if you can mute your mic if you're not speaking, then that will be great. Thank you very much. I think they've sorted it out. Yasser, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Hassan. Okay, so I just wanted to share with you that how does that gratitude also, sorry, let me just, how do we practice it? So if we say that if this is an attitude, and attitude is an acquired behavior which gets better and better with practice, so how do we kind of practice gratitude? I want us to kind of maybe go back to our childhood times, or maybe the time when you were actually teaching your child, let's say, how to cross a road. So you see a traffic light, you ask your son or your daughter to kind of stop, look, and go. Now, if you reflect back on this, what message does it give us? And how does that relate to gratitude? So it's basically becoming mindful. In life, a lot of times when we are, for example, eating, are we also mindful of what we are eating, and are we grateful to what we are eating? Versus, I might be having my meal with my Facebook on in some other conversations which may not be required, and then I'm distracted. So am I really valuing at that point in time the very blessing of having that meal or that food? Am I being grateful for having access to that meal, which a lot of people may not have? So basically, gratitude for me is also about becoming mindful. How mindful are we with regards to pausing? Because we are doing a lot of times, a lot of things in rush. We need to observe and reflect, and we need to let go of any negativity or negative emotions and do something about it. We just talked about that, can we be grateful about things which are not in our control, like violence, like wars, betrayals, oppression, etc., etc. But we do have a choice. How do we respond to it, right? So this is how I would suggest that be mindful, be aware of our surroundings, and be able to give a thank in terms of what is given to us, right? Moving forward, I also would like to share with you that a lot of times people ask me this question, that what is the connection between happiness and gratitude? They might be correlated, and they might be very interlinked, and sometimes I think we may kind of miss how we kind of differentiate between the two. Let me share a little bit of an interesting example, and I think all of us can relate to it, taking away the fact that, it's a Ramadan time and maybe food is something which, we will kind of do at the iftar time, but I think something that we can all relate to. Now,
Yasir, just a quick interjection. We don't see any slides if you were sharing anything.
Okay. Zulfa, can you see it now?
No, we only see your screen, your video screen. We don't see any slides yet.
So we can project the screen, and you can keep going.
Okay, because I think I stopped the video already.
No, we see your picture coming in through video, through your camera, but we don't see the presentation.
Okay. That's a bit strange. I'm just trying to get my head around the...
So it's okay. We can project it, and
perfect.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Sister Deveria.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you can maybe move to the next slide, please. Yeah. So I just want to kind of share with you that what is the connection between happiness and gratitude. So I think an example that we can all probably relate to is that if you can just maybe click, if we are served and we are very hungry, if we are served with our most favorite meal, I want us to kind of reflect back and think, what are the emotions that run in our mind, in our heart, which makes us happy? So I would maybe let you take a bit of a pause and then reflect in your mind that, if you get your favorite meal, what sort of emotions that would run in your mind of happiness? Probably, and just to maybe share a few thoughts that I kind of relate to, is that happiness sometimes is momentarily. I think everybody would agree. If you have your favorite meal, or if you have a certain access to certain material things in life, your iPhone, your most favorite car, your house, your status, etc., till the time those things exist, that probably makes it very happy. The moment, and then since it makes us happy, we also want to hold on to it. Now, when we try to hold on to these things, we then also sometimes compromising on the virtue of sharing things. As opposed to, I want you to now also reflect the same example that if you were served with your most favorite meal, and you look at it from an eye of and being appreciative of it, being grateful of that, you will notice that your mind frame, your thinking pattern will immediately change. And you would be more content. You would reflect back with a pause that, thank God, I am able to access food. I have been given this gift of having my favorite meal. And when you have that contentment, and when you have that fulfillment in your mind, in your heart, you would also want to share it with somebody. You would also not want to hold on to it, right? And I'm not saying that happiness is a bad thing. Happiness, all we need to recognize is something that is momentarily. It is linked by external factors, external materialistic world around us. Whereas gratitude, contentment is more that comes from within, right? So that's why I would like to say that happiness is it's not happiness that makes us grateful. It's gratefulness that makes us happy, right? So I think it's important to be able to distinguish in terms of when do we feel happy and how do we feel when we are grateful for things that are given to us. Please, if you can move forward. Now, I think it's important to also now relate it to how do we bring that to the workplace environment. Now, we've talked about that, what is gratitude, how we can develop an attitude of gratitude. We talked about how science relates to the positive effects or the positive psychology it brings to the mind, and how do we then internalize to all of that into a workplace environment. Gratitude makes us feel genuine and we feel fearless, which means that we are able to communicate openly and give constructive feedback in a workplace. We are respectful to everybody, which means that it gives us an opportunity to have an equal respect, regardless of somebody's stature, the hierarchy in the organization, but being mindful of the respect for everyone. We are willing to share. We just kind of talked about this example from eating your favorite meal, that we want to share. If we have gratitude, we are willing to share, which means this translates to collaboration and teamwork. I think we all work in organizations, in interactions where we come across with colleagues, people from very different backgrounds. We then start able to enjoy the differences amongst people, which actually leads to diversity. I know that, from my experience, and I'm sure that everybody can relate to it, is that we talk a lot about diversity at the workplace. So if we have the sense of gratitude or the gratefulness, we also have an appreciation for the diversity. If you can go to the next one, please. We become joyful and happy. So we've just seen in the video that if we are more happy, it gives us more energy. With more energy comes more focus. And that leads to a higher level of engagement at the workplace. Then we have understand the power of thank you. It's a very small thing to say, but a very, very powerful expression. Giving a word of thank you can make somebody's day. The appreciation that somebody receives, and sometimes if it's given on the spot, actually makes the workplace much more exciting. So these are some of the things that I would wanted to share with you that brings with gratitude. Not last but not the least, that overcoming negative emotions is also linked with gratitude, and that gives us more potential to self-develop ourselves. When all the negativity from the mind goes away, we have more time to be able to contribute in our own self-learning and development. So I would like to maybe then close the topic by saying a very powerful statement, saying from Rumi, that giving thanks for abundance is greater than the abundance itself. Thank you. Back to you, Xanford.
All right, thank you so much, Yasser. Quite insightful. Again, hopefully everybody was able to take away some key points for themselves. One thing that obviously I took away is that we just need to be grateful for even just the action of being able to raise a cup to our lips or to eat a bite of food, because there is obviously many slips between the cup and the lip. So with that, thank you so much, Yasser. We'll go to our fourth speaker for today. So we have Omnia Abdul Gawad. She is a senior business consultant, executive coach, and leadership mentor with passion for supporting organizations and cultivating their human assets through inclusive talent management, employee engagement, team dynamics, enhancement in order to improve operational efficiencies. She brings over 20 years of international executive management experience in business operations, talent management, and executive coaching expertise in the US and abroad. She holds a Bachelor of Science from Texas University and is an International Coaching Federation certified coach. So over to you, Omnia.
Okay, can everyone see my screen? Good morning. Okay.
Good morning.
All right. So I'll go ahead. Okay. All right. So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. Being with all of you today is definitely a privilege. And I want to continue on what my fellow speakers have talked about gratitude. I'm talking about how we can overcome stress and achieving gratitude. So my background, I'm an engineer by training. So I go to process and tools. So what I'm going to try to do today is give you some process and tools and understanding why our mind goes to negativity and how we can work that out and go towards positivity and support trying to be in that gratitude mind. So just a disclaimer, I have about less than 20 minutes. This is a combination of two workshops that I usually give over 8 hours. So I'm going to be very quick and I'm going to try to get the highlights of it and hopefully I get the point across. Okay, so when we say a gratitude to someone who is not in the right mind to hear the word, they are feeling negative, whatever. So typical reaction would be, how can I give positive mind with everything that's going around me? It's easy for you to say that you don't have my life, you're not living my life. I'm grateful, but why is this happening to me? And that's kind of opposite of being grateful. It's only people I work with. I'm very grateful for everything, but it's only the people I work with are just nicer to me, or they're more confident, or they're better people, or this or that. So these are the common reactions we hear. And of course, that causes, on a personal level, a lot of negative feelings. So a lot of anxiety, stress, feeling out of control, feeling there's no hope. On a professional level, unproductivity, low performance, low morale. And of course, that what causes the conflicts with teams. And that's why only 20% of teams and individuals reach their true potential. But of course, don't we all want to do that? I mean, we want to all be from those 20%. So let's try to go through. Okay, so I'm going to go through what trigger, it's a very simple model that helps you understand how you are triggered, your actions are triggered. So there's, circumstances. Circumstances are things that happen. They trigger in ourselves some thoughts. Okay, these thoughts, based on whatever it is, negative or positive, generates a feeling. And if it's a positive thought, it's going to generate a positive feeling. If it's a negative thought, negative feeling. That drives us to an action. And of course, the action will be more focused and positive if it's a positive thought. So you see the point, creates a result. So this result, if it's negative, because we have a negative thought, it's gonna go back to the thought, oh, see, it's gonna be my evidence. See, I told you, it's, that the negative thought will be like reassured in our mind. If it was a positive thought that triggered at the end a negative result, a positive result, then that would reassure our thoughts. So we continue to be in that positive cycle, or in the negative cycle based on that. So I'm going to give a quick example. Okay, COVID situation. It's a circumstances. It's a fact that there's COVID-19. We are all in lockdown. It's enforced. Okay, feel bad model, feel good model. Feel bad model. Oh, I'm going to be trapped at home. This is going to be horrible. Versus, oh, that's going to be very different than what I'm used to. I wonder how I'm going to be using my time, right? So same circumstance, two different thoughts. The first thought being feeling that or saying, okay, I'm going to be trapped, it's horrible, that triggers fear and rejection. Versus, oh, I'm curious, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with this? This is going to be interesting. So when you have the fear and rejection, you obsessively think negative thoughts, you feel trapped, you start fighting with your spouse, with your kids, with your colleagues on Zoom or Blue Jeans or whatever, And in the feel-good model, you start thinking of, oh, let's do this activity. Oh, these kids are, I didn't know that my kids are like talented at this. Let's do more of the art. You have more ideas. You try to create a nice space or a nice spot in your home, regardless how big or small it is, to have work so that you can have less interruption, or you can, if you have a nice window that have a view, you sit by there so you have a better feeling when you're working. Okay, so result, if we're talking about the feel bad model, boredom, loneliness, depression, low productivity, because you're not, and that reinforces the thought, which is, I'm being trapped at home and it's horrible. In the feel good model, you're doing all these actions with your kids and for your work, you have more family bonding, you have higher productivity and less boredom, and that reinforces that, oh, that's different. Let's use the time in a more productive way. So you can see how can you stay in each cycle based on the initial thought. So this is how our feelings are produced. So I encourage you, when you have a negative feeling, to look for what was the thought that triggered that. And that's a way to help. Okay, so as I said, working on the thoughts would be helpful. How can we do that? And that's the main thing I want to introduce, the positive intelligence theory, an indication of the control you have over your mind and how well your mind acts in your best interest. So our mind actually works in our best interest and in our worst interest. And that's what I'm going to discuss with this theory. I want you to pay attention to this PQ, the positive intelligence quotient. It is the percentage of the time our mind is working for us, serving us, rather than working negatively. So the higher this PQ percentage, the more we are productive, we are doing the right actions, we are just like on fire, like they say. So and the optimum target is to be 75 to 80% there. And notice I did not say 100% because it is not possible to be 100% in your best self, positive, that's not just possible. We're human and we have to be realistic in our expectations of ourselves. So if you can reach 75% or 80% of the time in our positive mind, or where our mind is serving us, we're in control of our mind rather than our mind in control of us in autopilot, then we are going to be reaching our full potential. Of course, the outcome would be better actions, better success, we're happier, all of that. Okay, so let's understand now. The idea is that we have kind of a two-brain thing. It's the same brain, but it's, when you're in your best self, when you're not in your best brain self, it's called a saboteur brain. I'm going to call it a saboteur brain. It consists of the automatic and habitual 9 patterns that that has our voice, beliefs, assumptions, that works against your interest. So it's all these negative thoughts about self and others that come to mind when anything happens. And then the sage brain, that's your deeper and wiser part. It helps you rise above conflict, resist getting carried away by the drama and tension of the moment. So the sage brain is what we want to be in the 75 to 80% of the time, rather than the saboteur brain. Okay, each of these brains have powers. The saboteur powers are 10, and the sage powers are 5. Okay, I'm only going to talk in detail a little bit on the first one, which is the judge, because we all have these 10, we have them in different. So my top saboteurs will be different than Assad saboteurs, than Yasser's saboteurs. Every one of us have different. But the judge is like number one for everyone. And that's judging myself, judging others, and judging the circumstances. And if you think about it, you'll figure out, you'll actually realize that we all do that almost all the time. We either judge others or we judge ourselves. And sometimes we are tougher on ourselves than on others. And we judge the circumstances. Oh, if this COVID-19 just didn't happen, I would have been this and this and this and this. I would have done this and that's. And then there's the avoider, controller, hyperachiever. Hyperachiever, you define yourself by your achievements. You don't love yourself unconditionally. Hyper-rational, no emotions. Everything is numbers. Hyper-vigilant, you're waiting for the next disaster to happen. Pleaser, you please people on your own, without consideration of your own self, which always backfire. Restless, stickler, which is the perfectionist, and perfectionism is not a good feature. So, because this is always a discussion I have with my clients, that takes time for us to resolve. And then victim, living in the victim mentality. So even though some of these saboteur powers might seem to be positive features of a person, they all come, what makes them actually a saboteur, they all come with negative emotions like anxiety, stress, being, always stressed, upset, tension, all of these things. So anything that comes with that, that's saboteur. Because on the sage power, the sage powers are the ones that come with comfort, with ease, with happiness, and there are 5 of them. There is empathize power, explore, innovate, activate, and navigate. Empathize, it's empathy, having empathy for yourself and to others. Okay? Explore power is when you get a new problem, when you get into a tension, when something happens, instead of being stressed and like trying to control the situation somehow, you try to explore what more can I discover about this? It's like a child walking on the beach and just turning things, finding things like, shells and stuff and holding it and trying to explore it. That's the explore power. Without judgment, without preempting that, this is bad, this is good. You're just exploring. Innovate is when you can think out of the box. Because a new situation happens and you think out of the box without also judging the situation. Navigate is when you have multiple paths and you need to change. If you're strong in your navigate power, you will choose the way that is in line with your beliefs, with your purpose, with your values, so that at the end the result would be more in line with your values and your purpose and so on. And then activate power is that when you're ready to take action, your saboteurs are not holding you back. You're not, procrastination is not happening. You're just laser focused. You take the action, you don't get distracted, and you get it done. So all these, as you can see, they come with ease, with comfort, with happiness, with progress. Opposite to the 10 powers that we just talked about. I hope I'm not going too fast, but I have to, I'm sorry. So why are these saboteur powers there? So is God, punishing us with them? Of course not. They have a reason. They are our fight or flight part of the brain that we need to assess danger, to be able to see the signs of danger and protect ourselves. It's our protective brain. But the problem is, due to how we are raised and how life is, we start having that as our default brain, our default power, and we live in our saboteur brain most of the time, even though we're not always in the fight or flight mode. So how can we improve? So I'm going to give you, again, solutions. How can I improve my PQ score? How can I be more in my sage brain so that I can practice this gratitude that all our great speakers talked about? Weaken your saboteurs by. So I'm going to give the end.
Just a quick interjection. We just have just a couple of minutes. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I'm wrapping up. I'm going to give there's a test that you can take so you can tell what's your top saboteurs. And then once you know them, you can actually, when you're in these saboteurs, you can catch them in the action and you call it out. And that will actually weaken your saboteur, realizing where you are. Then strengthen your PQ brain. And this is by practicing mindfulness, which Brother Yasser mentioned. And a simple way of it is it's actually by using our senses, just our senses. If we focus on them, that's strengthening our. And then there is the sage, strengthening your sage, and there is sage games. Yeah, there's no time for me to talk about them, but I'll talk about the 3-to-1 ratio in your mind. So every time something bad, if you perceive as bad, happens, you sit and say, okay, what could three good things come out of this? And that will help. If you keep practicing that, it's going to be very hard in the beginning, and then it gets easier. How can we use that in the workplace? This is the assessment that I told you about. So when I work with teams, I ask if the team working together, everyone takes the assessment. We know our saboteurs, because when I'm in my saboteur mind, I trigger your saboteur. If mine is a controller, yours is a victim. Oh, it's a disaster because I'm trying to control you and you're feeling victim, and we'll never be happy together. And when I'm in my stage, I trigger your stage. So that's the understanding each other's saboteur as a team that helps. So in general, understanding self and others is less conflict. Practice weakening your saboteur and strengthening your stage. Try to utilize the model that I just went through. So in conclusion, let's attract each other's stage rather than trigger our saboteurs. Gratitude is a practice, and having these tools can be useful. Everything that happens to us with us has a positive perspective. We just have to look for it. And I promise it gets easier to find that positive perspective when you practice. Control your thoughts and don't let your thoughts control you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sister Ramnia. That was really, really insightful. For us to be able to hopefully take advantage of that and be able to, build upon some of the sage powers that she talked about. Obviously, I know we are running out of time, so we will, we will quickly wrap up. We had one more presenter, but obviously we ran out of time and had a little bit of technical challenges. We were going to hear actually from a 14-year-old boy on how he could have been grateful in these times living with his family. So we can certainly share that with Asad, and if he has, and if he's able to share that with the team or with the participants, you can certainly have a listen to that. So with that said, We'll obviously wrap up. I know we're out of time. I just wanted to, thank all the presenters who were here today to share the things that they've shared and the insightful lessons that they shared with us, and really leave everybody with that we are really too blessed to be stressed. So let's take a look at the brighter side, take a look at the things that we have, and make the most of the times that we have, with our families here together, and make the best of it. Thank you so much, Asad, for giving us the opportunity again to be here, and back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ghazanfar. I think it's actually it's very unfortunate for us that we have such great speakers today, but we only have 1 hour for this because our office timings are also shortened. And we want to make sure that people are doing work but at the same time they're engaging with the best practices as well. With that, I would just like to thank everybody who has spoken here. I would like to thank our first speaker, Mr. Siddiq, who is here. I would also like to thank Mr. Yasir. I would like to thank Ms. Omnia. And I would also like to thank the 14-year-old child who is not here and we could not hear him. But I really appreciate that he made a 3-minute presentation in his audio, which eventually I will share with everybody so that they can hear how does a 14-year-old think about getting the blessings and how can he and what does he think about gratitude. So we heard from different people, but it'll be good to hear from him as well, and I'll share that with everybody. And above all, thank you very much, Mrs. and Mr. Ghazanfar, for making sure that, that this topic is there and that we can share this with everybody. We have people here in this forum who are joining, not just from the UAE, we have people who are joining from Jordan and from Lebanon, from Qatar, from Oman, and from Bahrain as well, as a matter of fact. So great hearing from you. And again, once again, thank you to everybody who has been here, who has managed to join in. Do take the assessment, which was highlighted towards the very end by Ms. Omnia, and see where do you stand. And yeah, so there's also another comment which I'm just seeing right now, which is, having another separate session with with Ms. Omnia. And yes, definitely, why not? We can look into that. We can look into that, and that's really good feedback for us. So thank you very much. Thank you once again. And we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Asad. Thank you.
Thank you. And have a very good day, guys. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Asad.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye.
Same to you, Asad. Same to you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.